Oh, hi there. How are you guys doing today? We're going to be talking about a show that I just recently watched. And I'm going to give you my opinion and my review. Two shows of the same universe, in a way. First show, called Hellsing. This show is pretty good. It's an anime. It's on Crunchyroll, if you ever want to watch it. If you have Crunchyroll or Hulu, at least this one. It's interesting story. It's slow a little bit because it's old. It's old animation. And came out like in 2001 and using somewhat of the same animation as Dragon Ball Z. It's a vampire show. If you ever want to watch it, if you're into vampires, and if you're really just be careful what you if you're religious and you're gonna watch this anime, be prepared on both of these shows. First show, it's about a organization known as the Hellsing organization. This organization, their goal is to hunt down vampires that are threatening England, mainly. And England is infested with vampires, all kinds of vampires. And the Hellsing organization has one vampire helping them, and he's like 500 years old. His name is Alucard. Interesting name, because when I think of Alucard, I think of Dracula's son from Castlevania. And he's like the most powerful vampire in this entire show. And he's super strong, has different forms and everything. In the beginning of the show, it shows a police officer named Saris, and she's trying to deal with like a normal interaction with criminals and such. But then she actually stumbles upon vampires, a nest of vampires and ghouls. She does what her normal job is. She has to detain them, blah, 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 what normal cops do, police officers or whatever. And then she gets pretty much chased by ghouls and vampires. And she's about to die anyway. And then Alucard saves her, and then he gives her a choice. Become a vampire and work for the organization of Hellsing, or die, or just die. Die right here, where you're at. So she chose the other way. She chose to become a vampire. And she becomes this part of the organization. The organization give her all kinds of weapons and everything to hunt and kill vampires. And as they're training her, the headquarters of the organization gets attacked by two other vampires. And these two vampires are leading an army of ghouls. And one of them is like a full-on psychopath. He has piercings over his head, has an eye on it. And they kill a lot of the organization's soldiers. And the butler of this organization, named Walter, is apparently an retired vampire hunter. He starts killing all the ghouls and fights the vampire that's leading these ghouls. And he makes great work. And then he has Saris that has this big rifle that shoots like rounds the size of a grenade. And she's destroying these ghouls. And then after she wipes out all the ghouls, they kill this guy. Well, not really kill, but they capture this vampire. They torture him, and then he kills himself by burning himself alive with blue fire. So, and then the other vampire is trying to fight Alucard. He's telling Alucard, like, I'm the greatest vampire you'll probably ever face against. And it's just... And then he finds the true power of Alucard, and he's just like, oh! And he just tries to run, and he gets his legs fucking severed off. And Alucard shows one of his forms, which is like pretty much like a ghost demon spirit form with hundreds of thousands of eyes. And he starts devouring this vampire, eats him whole. And then all that happened. And slowly but surely, the organization that works for the Holy Christian Church, Catholic Church, they are trying to tell the Hellsing organization, telling Integra Hellsing, the person that runs the organization, they're telling her that they need to deal with these vampires quick, or the Catholic Church is going to get involved, and they're going to send their strongest warrior that they have in our organization, known as Alexander Anderson. And he's my favorite character of both shows. He's such a badass. And you find out he's immortal. He cannot die from normal weapons, normal materials. He has to die to silver or holy relics. That's the only way he can die. So slowly but surely, they kill a lot of vampires, kill a lot of ghouls, and then eventually they meet the vampire that started havoc on England, and he tries to bring back an ancient god that destroys worlds. Integra drinks her blood and becomes stronger, slowly getting stronger with this being. Alucard comes out of nowhere, starts demolishing the being, and the vampire destroy pretty much all of England. All of London. Integra is saved. Cerys is alive after fighting an army of ghouls and all that. And Alucard destroys the vampire and the god. And it pretty much ends there with happiness and whatever. I give this, or the original show, an 8 out of 10. Now on to the other show of the series. This one is known as Hellsing Ultimate. And this one, it was a full-on reboot. Same characters, but there was a lot of different characters as well. So Cerys, doing her normal thing at the very beginning, gets a call. Since she's a police officer, she goes to this place, finds out there's a whole mess of ghouls and vampires, pretty much same story. But this one was way more sexual than the first one, than the first series. And I'm going to do a warning on this show. 2 scenes in one episode. I think it's episode either 8 or 9. This show is... These scenes, I mean... was one of them was just disgusting. It was just gross. I'm just like, really? Why? And then the other one was very, very hard to watch. It was hard to watch. It was it was so bad. I'm not gonna tell you what it is because I might get canceled or something about this, or get this video taken down. But either way, it's just disgusting. Ugh. But the whole show, fantastic, way better than the first show. So anyway, what I was talking about, and then the vampire that's doing all this is actually a vampire priest, and he's like touching her and everything very sexually, and it's fucking weird. And then Alucard comes out of nowhere, and the vampire sends his ghouls against Alucard, and Alucard destroys all the ghouls. And then the vampire takes Cerys as a hostage, and he's like, if you try anything, I'll fucking bite her throat out or rip it out, whatever. And then Alucard comes up with this goofy ass question saying, "Are you a virgin, Cerys?" to Cerys. She says, "Yeah," and then he shoots her right in the chest, and this bullet goes straight through her into the vampire, and it kills the vampire. And then he pretty much does the same thing with Cerys again. Asks her, if you want to live, be a vampire. Join the organization. If you don't want to be this, then die. Oh well, doesn't matter. Obviously, she chose to be a vampire, to be with Alucard and all of that. And then they pretty much do the same thing in a way. Same 2 vampires that attack the organization, but different story, different plot, different everything. Instead of just an ancient vampire that was trying to bring back an ancient god, it was actually Nazis that are trying to do this. An army of vampire Nazis. And this was so much better than the original idea they had. The original concept. This concept of this show is so much better. So the vampire Nazis are in Brazil trying to regain their strength, trying to come back, and their main target was England, aka London. And they attack London. And these episodes are not short. The first series was like 13 episodes, 25 minutes each. Very short. This one is 10 episodes, but an hour long. These episodes were long, and I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, there was so much action. It's so good. And the action's fast too. It's not like Dragon Ball, like like he's not trying to do one move and it takes about 2 episodes to do. And it's just great music, great action, lots of death. For all this, the Catholic Church literally said, if you don't deal with this problem, exactly again, like they with the ancient vampire in the original series, if you don't deal with this problem, we're gonna have to get involved, and when we get involved, we're gonna have to, sadly, most likely, kill you, even though we don't really like you. So it's a win-win for us. Alexander Anderson is in this, much better in this series, full-on badass in this series, and he's like all about God. He's like praying as he's about to do some shit. Anyway, the whole great battle happens. Thousands of Nazi vampires coming in giant airships / blimps, and they just start killing everything. And since they're vampires, they're fast, they're strong, they have bloodlust, they'll just keep fighting forever. And Integra, Saris, and Walter are like trying to get back to their headquarters to be with their soldiers. And the leader of the soldiers' name's Pip, and he's funny as hell. One of my favorite characters in this show. And it's just endless fighting. And Alucard takes out a ship that the Nazis took over. He slowly sails the ship all the way to the harbor of London, and he built a giant cross with the plane that he was on, and there's a giant coffin, and we'll get to that part in a second. But Saris and Pip are back at the HQ. Saris gets back to the HQ, beats it with Pip and all his boys. An airship full of Nazi vampires are trying to go to the HQ and try to destroy it and kill everyone that's there. And as this is happening, Integra and Walter are trying to get back, and Integra gets stopped, obviously, and then Walter fights a werewolf. Apparently werewolves exist in this universe too, which is cool. But this werewolf was on the side of the Nazis, and Walter was actually a traitor, and they didn't explain that until later. And I'm just like, whoa, what? No way. So, and I never thought Walter would be a traitor ever. He was like super loyal to Integra and the organization. And then when he fought that werewolf, he pretty much just said, take me to your ship. And pretty much he got younger. He was like very old. He was around in World War II. And apparently this story takes place about 50 years after World War II. So he slowly gets younger with a new type of super serum and starts going back to being a kid. But that doesn't happen till like later on, like close to the end of the show. Then here comes the Catholic Church with an entire army of cloaked Templars wearing KKK headwear, and it's hilarious and badass shit. And then they slowly make their way to London, and they were in France. And the person that's leading them, I forgot his name, but he was like an asshole. He hated England. He just hated England. He hated all of England. He hated Integra. He hated Alucard. He hated everybody. And then they arrived with an entire army, about 5,000, I believe, with 5,000 Crusaders, and they just start killing everything. He literally told all the soldiers, don't even worry about the civilians. Kill all in your way. Kill the vampires. Kill the civilians. Kill everyone. And then the vampires, and then the Nazis, and the Crusaders start going into it. And then Alucard finally makes his way, and he gets onto land, lands in the middle of the battlefield that is between the Nazis and the Crusaders. And then here comes Anderson through the army of Crusaders. Anderson's like, you are a bigger threat than all of us here. Like, Anderson's trying to convince everybody to shoot at Alucard, because Alucard is just a full-on menace. And then they shoot at Alucard, and Alucard is just full-on just spirit, thousands of eyes. And then he slowly build himself back up, and then he asks Integra, give me an order. Give me what you want me to do. And Integra says, kill them all, unleash your full power. And then Alucard's coffin that's in the middle of the cross on the ship that he sailed on is actually the coffin that he's from, where all his power is, where all his true power is. And apparently, over the years he's been alive, he's devoured about 3 million souls. And all the souls that he devoured, including his own soldiers that he led back in the day, all started rushing out of his body and killing everything in their way, killing everyone. They killed both the Crusaders, they killed the Crusaders, the civilians, the Nazi vampires. They killed everything. And then you find out that he's actually Dracula. This whole time he was Dracula, and then it gets to that one very disturbing fucking scene. I'm gonna explain it. If you're gonna watch this show, better go watch it. You'll understand what I'm saying. It's so disturbing, and it's just, it's fucked up. But then it shows that Dracula has been like a loyal person to the Hellsing family, somewhat, and if he really wanted to, he could just say fuck you and just kill everybody in the Hellsing family, but he doesn't, because he's actually loyal and trustworthy, and he's trustworthy, whatever you want to say it. So he kills everybody. Anderson and a group of Catholic warriors were the only ones left, not Crusaders. They were with Anderson, like they dress up like Anderson does. Anderson wears a trench coat, wears glasses, and anyway, so Anderson's like challenging Alucard, aka Dracula. I'm gonna stick with Alucard because that's what his name is in the entire show, but it's just crazy that it's Dracula. So Anderson and Dracula have an epic battle. They fight nonstop, and slowly Anderson is starting to lose because Alucard has two types of pistols. One is killing normal people, and the other one's killing things that what Anderson is, and vampires. And it's just, they go at it, and then Anderson gets to the point that he has to bring out some kind of relic that can turn him into like a natural disaster. And he stabs it in his heart, and tree vines and shit start coming out of him, start taking over his body. And then when he gets his head shot off, fucking all kinds of vines of shit just comes out of nowhere, reforms his head, but uncontrollably just everywhere. And then Alucard is trying to stop him because he's like, this is nuts, why are you doing this? And it's just endless fighting. And then eventually, finally, Alucard just takes his black pistol, which is the holy one, the holy weapon that kills things like Anderson, shoots the relic, destroys Anderson's heart, because the relic was on his heart, and Anderson gives like a great speech at the end, and then everything, and finally dies. And I was actually quite sad because he was actually my favorite character in the entire series. And and then it comes to Alucard versus Walter, and Walter is so strong. His main weapon is like metal string that can cut through anything, and he's taking on Alucard. And he gets to the point that he actually does destroy Alucard once and for all, and Alucard is sent to hell, never coming back. Yeah, well, he does come back, but they thought getting rid of him, that was going to be the only way to get rid of him for good. And then Integra and Ceres are inside the inside the flag balloon ship, and killing everything. And then they meet the leader, and he tells them his plan, like, I did this to make Alucard come out, show his true power, and get rid of him once for all. This was not about revenge about World War II. He just wanted Alucard and get rid of Alucard once and for all. And then Ceres destroys the commander, and they find out he's actually a robot, which is fucking nuts. And it was all kinds of twists in this show. It's fucking fantastic. I give this show and that's it. And I'm going to finish this show with a 10 out of 10. So good. If you guys are going to go watch this, go ahead and watch it. Just a full warning. There's 2 scenes that are like going to especially to all of you religious people. If you're going to watch this, be prepared. Be prepared. You're going to either hate it or love it. Because there's a lot of things that churches and priests try to hide, and they will. And it's pretty much telling you what the Catholic Church / Christian Church are. Pretty much like telling you what their true features are. Like, this show did not hold back at all. So, hope you enjoy. This is the last of. This is all I'm finishing up. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me if you actually have watched the show. Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite scene from these shows? What do you like about the show? Give me your rating, please. This show is so good. It's literally one of my top favorites. Maybe like top 3. I'm joking. Maybe like top 5, I'll say. I'll give it like a 10 out of 10, but I think it's like my top 5 favorite animes. And it's fantastic. But anyway, go watch it if you've not watched it. Don't know why you're listening here. But if you have watched it, let me know how you think about it. And hopefully you have a good day.